Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Ryan Palmer. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. So, Ryan, let us know what you do and where you live.
Yes, my name is Ryan Palmer, and I live in Marion, Illinois. It's a little town in southern Illinois, about 5 or 6 hours from Chicago. So we're way down there in the south, probably closer to like 2 hours from St. Louis. So we're a lot closer there. But yeah, every time I say Illinois, people assume Chicago. But yeah, we're way down south, little small town. But so I run Palmer Creative Co. We're a creative agency. We do web design, digital marketing, copywriting, pretty much anything creative. So yeah, kind of been running this for a few months now. Just kind of started it back in November last year. So
Awesome. So, when we talk about any creative company, this is for sure that you involve thinking process in at every step. So, creativity and digital world have a really great combination nowadays. So, along with this combination, are you using or getting help from AI as well, or till now you are working without AI?
there's a lot of talk and stuff online about AI, and I've seen people hate it, and I've seen people love it. And honestly, it's one of those things where I feel like it's just another tool where it takes a great idea first to kind of start. Because if you kind of just put in something in a chat GPT and use the first thing it gives you, like you're not doing any work. Like it's not going to give you anything good or usable. But I think when done right, using the right prompts and stuff, I think it can really help out. Just kind of think of ideas and stuff, and then B, also just kind of speed up the process of certain things and take some of those boring tasks away, so you have more time to kind of focus on the fun stuff. And I feel like it's a really good efficient tool when used correctly, but I feel like a lot of people aren't using it correctly, so that's kind of a double-edged blade. But yeah, I think like it's not going anywhere, so I think it's the best thing to do is really like learn how to use it correctly, and kind of get ahead of the game, because people are going to be using it, so you might as well be the best at using it.
Awesome. So I think there are a lot of other companies as well. There are a lot of competitors in the market, the work that you are doing. So, but I haven't seen creative word in the name of the company, and I believe this is this is one of your differentiators for sure. But like, what are the other differentiators in terms of your business from others in the market?
So I think my biggest differentiator, at least personally, is my background. I'm actually a engineering major. I was a major in industrial manufacturing and applied engineering. And whenever I first got to college, they told me, engineering is going to be great for creative people. And 4 years later, I'm like, okay, when's it going to get creative? And so I'm like, got the major. I mean, I got the degree in that, and then I stuck around for an extra semester for a advertising and journalism minor. And I got involved in like a student ran agency when I was in college for a while. So I got some experience there. And then after I graduated, it was just kind of like engineering was fun, and it was really good to learn, and it does come in handy for my business. It's just not something I wanted to do as a career. It's like it was just a little bit too boring for me. And so, but I use a lot of like the actual philosophies and stuff I learned in my engineering classes, like on efficiency and lean manufacturing, and just processes that really helps that to work efficiently and get things done the right way. And I feel like that really is one of my differentiators, because I kind of have that logical side of me from the engineering stuff, but I also am creative, so I'm kind of a blend of the two, where I can read the data, read the stats and stuff, but also understand the creative side of things.
Awesome. Great. So marketing is associated with every business, I believe. And today, this is one of the most important thing that digital marketing is becoming a part of every business day by day. So I believe you are doing digital marketing as well. So how you offer the digital marketing services, and how you are offering your services, like how you are marketing your services.
Yeah, so I do a lot of like, cold outreach and stuff, just connecting with the right people who run businesses, like like-minded people that I think would be fun to work with. But I've actually, the last couple of months really been, posting more on LinkedIn, posting just content from my own profile. And I've really been, building a pretty solid following on there just, in the few months I've been doing it. And I think, I used to hate LinkedIn and I used to hate it just because, how corporate and robot and boring it was. But I've came to kind of realize, that's almost like, if you go on there and you're not boring, you're going to stand out more. So I feel like, that's kind of like a double-edged blade again because, you see all these posts like, oh, I'm excited to announce that I've accepted a position at blah, blah, blah. And so I go on there, I'll use it like I'm using Twitter. And so no one's gonna be out, like no one else is posting those. So, it's obviously gonna get some eyeballs. And I feel like that's really kind of building it up, showing my personality a little bit more and kind of, building a connection of different entrepreneurs and business owners and stuff on there. I think your audio cut out.
Sorry. So what digital marketing services you are offering to your clients?
Yeah, so I do a lot of like for online stuff, I do a lot of copywriting, like email marketing stuff. I really like enjoy, kind of figuring out a brand's voice, or if they don't have one, helping them, kind of come up with one. And I love, like the kind of companies that are like, like not afraid to kind of think outside of the box, have some fun with it, be a little bold, take some risks. Because I feel like those are the fun ones. Those are a little bit risky ones, but whenever it works, it usually works pretty big. So I like doing that kind of stuff. I enjoy writing, and then I do like designs and stuff, but that's more for like usually more local stuff. I do a lot of like logo design, branding, and stuff like that. Just kind of overall brand identity. But yes, like for like online coaches and online businesses and stuff like that, I do a lot of helping them with their funnels and their web copy and their email marketing stuff like that.
And who is your ideal client?
Yeah, so I kind of like I just like working with pretty much anyone that I find could be fun to work with. Pretty flexible with what I can do. I don't really stick to one lane. I know a lot of people have niches, and I do a lot of stuff for different coaches and stuff because I feel like with email marketing specifically, you can really get into the storytelling side of things and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm anyone who needs anything kind of brand identity or brand or anything like help with anything, pretty much I'm your guy. So
Exactly. So in terms of referral partnerships, do you prefer these things? Because right now it is spreading everywhere. Everybody is doing partnerships on referrals on some particular services, sort of these things. So do you welcome all the partnerships as well? Or you have your own trades and your own way of working?
yeah, so I've had some people, kind of reach out to me. I've had like some social media guys, like, kind of have the idea where, they'd refer like business to me for like web design and stuff. If I could, refer to them, social media clients or something. But at the point I'm at in my business right now is not to be cocky, but I feel like I'm pretty good at everything. So, with certain things, I got to be kind of picky because I don't want to, refer to someone who I feel like is going to be, doing worse work than I would. So if I feel like, I could do better, might as well, give them the best.
Yeah, well, that's a good approach for sure. Awesome. So in terms of your business growth, like how you, not the growth, but the success, how you measure the success of your business?
Yes, I think, just obviously conversions. That's, the biggest thing is, making
Yeah.
sure you're actually, getting sales. But I think, a lot of the time sales will take some time to figure out the right prices and the right targeting and stuff. But I think at the end of the day, at least start off and stuff. If you're starting off a business, I think the biggest kind of thing is if you have a vision and you aren't really sure how to execute that vision, that's what I'm for, is to kind of, take your vision and run with it. And, if it's not what you want, we can keep on working until it's exactly what you want and you had in mind, and that's kind of my success is like, having those clients that can see what they had in their mind finally come to life.
All right, that makes completely sense. So, in terms of your growth, what are your short-term goals, like maybe in next 3 to 6 months?
So yeah, eventually I want to kind of, leave Southern Illinois. I love it down here, but it's not especially the last few weeks have been really cold. Just slipped and fell on ice last week. So that was fun. That reminded me how much I wanted to get out of here. So yeah, eventually, as we grow, I want to kind of, take it and maybe, either hand off some of the duties for locally. Maybe right now it's mainly just me, but so like I have like a team of people that I can like reach out to if I need help with certain projects or anything. But yeah, right now it's kind of just me, but I do want to kind of grow into a team eventually where I can kind of outsource some of the stuff and kind of be a little bit more hands off. So I have more time to, do travel and stuff like that while I kind of, control the team more of like actually creative directing than, being the guy for everything.
Makes sense. So as a founder, this is a big responsibility, and almost every founder is wearing a lot of hats. So how many hats you are wearing at this point?
I'm pretty much wearing them all right now. I don't think, yeah, I'll reach out to the people if I have questions and stuff, but I really do enjoy just learning everything. I'm a fast learner and
Uh,
I see them all like every aspect of marketing and branding and everything. I feel like they all, work together to a point. So it's almost like you have to wear all hats. Maybe you'll wear a bigger hat sometimes than others, but as long as it's all running like a well-oiled machine, in order to make that happen, you got to kind of be involved in a little bit of everything.
well, that's interesting, but don't you think so? Like wearing a lot of hats, may be a problem and maybe can be a challenge itself.
Yeah, I think yeah, with certain things, especially if you have, a lot of projects at the same time, it can get a little
Yeah.
tough to handle them all yourself. But I think at least, having a part in it, and then maybe, if it does get a little bit too much, having the right network of connections to reach out to that could help you out if you need it. I feel like that's important. But I feel like, it's important to, kind of be the one to kind of control everything, and then you can make the best decisions on which tasks you think could be outsourced, which ones are best to do yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense completely. And in terms of having control at one point can be a bottleneck as well, but can be the best decision as well, where everything will be driven from one side and things will stay in control. For sure.
Like I've
Awesome.
seen it I've seen it with like different teams and stuff, but past places teams I've worked with where there'll be like more than one vision going on, and so everyone's kind of working towards a kind of similar goal, but they're not spot on, and they both don't know exactly what the end goal is, and so I think that can kind of cause some confusion sometimes, and maybe cause some headaches, and make projects last longer than they should. And so I think, yeah, like as long as you have a good team that, are all on the same page of what the end goal is, I think, having a team could be definitely helpful too.
Makes sense. Yeah. So in terms of challenges, like every entrepreneur face challenges, and I think challenges are meant to be for for the entrepreneurs. So have you ever faced any? Obviously, you must have faced some challenges, but can you share one of the biggest challenge that you have faced and how you were able to cope up with it?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges is like just personally sometimes, that fear of, like being able to get the work and then not, do good enough work, just that like that fear that you might not be good enough for, depending on how big of a client you might get. But I think the biggest thing is, just to jump in and go for it. Because I think, you can kind of do anything, because as long as you have that motivation to do it, you're going to get it done. And, like I said, whenever I do work with clients, I'm going to keep on working until it's exactly what they want. And if they're not happy with it, I'll keep on going until they are, And so it was kind of getting over that hurdle of self-doubt. But yeah, I think like the biggest thing is just remember, like, everyone's human. People are starting businesses too. The people you're talking to and working with are just like you. They're business driven founders just like you. So everyone, they're just humans. They're not, it's not like there's no reason for any pressure, because you want to help them and they want to help you. So
Yeah, sure, for sure. So in terms of technologies, because you are working with the technologies, so what is the tech stack that you are working on for the web development and other things?
yeah, so I do a lot of WordPress and like WooCommerce stuff. That's kind of at the old agency I used to work with. I did a lot of that, and I honestly didn't even think I had no idea I was gonna like ever even really do much web design, because even during the engineering and stuff, I was always doing a lot of copywriting because I really enjoy getting in people's minds and stuff. But yeah, whenever I started the job there, I kind of got really the hang of using WordPress and getting into the back end of that and stuff. And so that's where I usually develop websites on. But I've done stuff for Shopify stores, and yeah, pretty much mainly WordPress. And then for like graphic design, logo stuff, I use the Adobe Suite, Illustrator, Photoshop, all that. And then yeah, I also do like I've done anything from editing like short form videos for people on CapCut to writing copy and sending out their email marketing on Klaviyo. So yeah, kind of just anything, like any tool that I think I might be able to use or need, depending on the project, I'll use it. So
Awesome, awesome. So, will you let us know a little bit about the inspiration? Because yeah, you told us that your background is the most influencing thing in your career. But like, what was the most influencing thing? Like the motivation? What was the biggest why to start a creative agency?
yeah, so I think I've just always kind of wanted to do this. Back in high school, I had some marketing classes and stuff, and it was always my favorite classes. Like I would always, stay extra every class. I'd be the one that's, going extra, even for like extra credit projects. I'd do the best for no reason when I didn't even need extra credit. I just always loved the marketing stuff. I've always loved art. I used to love magic as a kid, and I feel like that's kind of similar, like psychology stuff. I just feel like all my different interests, I feel like it all kind of led me to running a creative agency. So yeah, I've also always been entrepreneurial. So I feel like this is just kind of a perfect fit, just running my own business. And I also just feel like, there's a lot of marketing companies and also just like businesses in general that are, yeah, like too boring. Like they're just like, they don't understand it. Like not everyone wants to see, just boring updates on Facebook. Like in order to really build a community and like you got to be a little bold and you got to have some personality. And I feel like that's my biggest inspiration is I just think, there's too many good businesses out there that no one even knows about because they aren't bold enough. And I feel like that's my biggest inspiration is I just want to help as many good businesses as I can.
Got it. So what you will say if someone who do not have a background of technology, a technical background, so and they want to start an agency, software development or the design agency. So what you will say, like they should start or they should not start, and if they should start it, then why? Like what should be the vision behind?
I think that if they think they have the willpower to, stick through it and knowing like if they can look in the mirror and they can know that, 10 years down the road, they're going to succeed, go for it. But if you have any doubt, it might not be the best time, but whenever you feel confident enough where, like, there's going to be struggles and, it's going to be roadblocks. But if you can look in the mirror and you just know that you're going to succeed at something, go for it.
Awesome, awesome, great. So, Ryan, what would be your biggest piece of advice for the entrepreneurs who are struggling with the business, or maybe they want to be their own boss?
I think, it's an online world, it's a digital world now. That was honestly one of the reasons that I decided to go for it when I did is, I kind of realized it's a digital world. There's all these opportunities online to make money where you aren't stuck at a 9 to 5 anymore if you don't want to be. And it's like, it's not going anywhere. It's only going to keep going. And I think even like during COVID, COVID was a blessing and a curse. But I think one of the blessings of it was people started to realize that, it's more efficient sometimes. As long as there's good workers, it's more efficient sometimes to kind of be hands off. And with online businesses and stuff, there's so many different ways you can make money. I think, if you feel comfortable to go for it, just to go for it, put yourself out there because everyone's online. Word of mouth and stuff is great, but everybody's going to be online and they're not going anywhere. So if you want to make connections, make money and stuff online, like you have to be online. Like that's the only place that you can contact anyone in the world at any time. So you have to get out there. Don't be afraid to outreach to people and make new friends online and connections and stuff like that, because that's where the growth really starts to happen. You start meeting people, even if it's not doing business together, you can learn from them and just connect with like-minded people, and you're just going to keep getting better. So just go for it.
Awesome. Thanks for the great and deep advice. Awesome. So, right at the end, will you please let our viewers know how they can reach you? You can share your website, your social media handles, or whatever you want to share.
Yep. So our website is palmercreative.co. My email is ryan@palmercreative.co. And then I think Instagram and Facebook are just both Palmer Creative Co. And I think Twitter, Palmer Creative _. And the LinkedIn, I think that's also just Palmer Creative Co. I think with hyphens between the words maybe. But yeah, if you just type in Palmer Creative Co., you'll find it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Stay in touch. Have a good day.
You
Bye-bye.
too.